I'm not the kind of guy who scares easy. I've served 2 tours overseas, hiked alone through grizzly territory, and slept under open skies more nights than I can count. But I'll never go into the woods again. Not after Raven Creek. It was meant to be a reset. Just me, a backpack, and a remote log cabin Darren had mentioned. Said it was a hidden gem. Off-grid, he told me. Quiet. No phone, no people, no bullshit. That sounded perfect. I arrived late afternoon. The dirt trail up the hill was more roots than road. My truck complained the whole way, tires skidding in the mud. When I finally broke through the trees, the cabin stood in a clearing like it had been waiting 100 years. Dark wood, moss-streaked windows, a rusted lantern swinging on the porch beam. The silence hit me harder than I expected. No birds. No bugs. Just wind whispering through the pines like it didn't want to wake anything. I shrugged off the unease, chalked it up to the drive. Inside, the cabin was rustic but clean. 1 room, stone fireplace, cast iron stove. A cot in the corner with thick wool blankets. The kind of place you're meant to get lost in. I built a fire. Ate jerky and beans. Watched the flames dance until my eyes started to droop. That's when I heard it. 3 knocks. Sharp. Slow. At the back door. I sat up, listening. My body stiffened like an instinct older than language kicked in. Knock. 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 Again. I grabbed my flashlight and the hunting knife I kept by my boots. Tiptoed across the creaking floor, heart thudding so loud I swore it echoed off the walls. The back door had no window. Just an old bolt lock and a cracked frame. I held my breath. Opened it fast. Nothing. Just black trees swaying in the wind. The hair on the back of my neck stayed standing long after I closed the door. I told myself it was a branch. A raccoon. Maybe just the cabin settling. I crawled into the cot, knife in hand, and tried to sleep. At 2:11 a.m., I woke up choking. The fire had gone out. The room was freezing. And I wasn't alone. There was breathing. Not mine. Something slow and wet, like air forced through lungs that hadn't been used in years. I stayed still. Didn't even blink. The sound came from the front corner, right where the old rocking chair sat, just out of reach of the firelight. It creaked once. Then again. And the breathing got closer. I don't remember falling asleep. But when I woke up, the door was wide open, and muddy prints, barefoot, led from the woods to my cot and back out again. I should have left right then. But I didn't. I was angry. I thought maybe someone was playing a trick, trying to scare the city boy in the woods. So, I followed the prints. They led toward Raven Creek. The map said it was just over a mile northwest. I hiked in silence, broken only by twigs cracking underfoot and the growing unease in my chest. When I reached the creek, I froze. Across the water, standing in the shallows, was a figure. Tall. Too tall. Its skin was stretched tight over bones, limbs slightly too long, head tilted like it was curious about me. It didn't move. Didn't blink. I whispered, "Hello." And it grinned. Its mouth opened wide, too wide, revealing rows of needle-thin teeth, and then it stepped forward. Not onto the water. Into it. But the surface didn't ripple. The water didn't move. I turned and ran. Branches whipped my face. My boots slipped on wet leaves. I didn't stop until the cabin came into view. And there, in the dirt outside the door, were new prints. Barefoot. Leading inside. I was done. I threw my gear into the truck, heart hammering, ready to drive straight through the night. But the engine wouldn't turn over. Just a whining click. The battery was fine. The lights worked. But the engine was dead. I took the rifle from behind the seat, locked myself in the cabin, and waited for daylight. The fire roared, but I couldn't stop shaking. Then the knocking started again. 3 times. Back door. 3 times. Front door. Then every window. Knock. 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 Followed by a voice. Ethan, it wasn't a voice I knew. But it sounded close, like someone whispering into my ear from across the room. Let me in. It kept repeating, always from a new direction. First the door. Then the fireplace. Then right behind me. I screamed, fired a shot through the front window, and everything went silent. For hours I sat with my back against the wall, rifle across my lap, until dawn painted the sky gray and gold. I packed up as fast as I could and decided to hike down the mountain. I had to reach the ranger station at the base trail, 5 miles, maybe 6. But the trail was wrong. It twisted in directions it never had. Looped back on itself. Markers I passed were the same every time. The sun was getting low again when I finally saw something new, a ranger outpost. But it wasn't the one I remembered. It was older. Half buried in moss. Abandoned. Still, I checked the radio inside. Dead. As I turned to leave, I noticed something carved into the wall by the door. Dozens of names. All scratched in deep. One of them was mine. Ethan Mallory, October 2023. I'd never been here before. Not in my life. But my name was there, carved in perfect block letters. That's when I felt it again. The breathing. Close. I bolted. Didn't stop running until I hit the main logging road, miles from where I started. Some hikers found me the next morning, curled up in a ditch, half mumbling nonsense about faces in the trees and whispers in the dark. They took me to a hospital in Kalispell. The sheriff asked questions. I gave them the truth, but they just nodded politely and never followed up. The cabin? Gone. They said no such place exists near Raven Creek. But I know what I saw. I still have the map. I still wake up at 2:11 a.m. soaked in sweat. And every night since I came back. 3 knocks. Front door. Back door. Window.